An emergency fund is so important to have right when you are getting started with your personal finances and paying off your debt. So Dave Ramsey says that you should have at least $1,000 as a starter emergency fund, but that's not good enough. Hey, what's up guys? It's Justine with Debt Free Millennials, the channel to help you crush your debt and live payment free. If you want to do this millennial style, go ahead and scroll below and click that red subscribe button. And for those of you who are coming back, let's talk about this because I know a lot of you are following Dave Ramsey's baby steps, or you're Dave-ish where you're kind of loosely following the baby steps. Or maybe you're just wondering what the heck this $1,000 emergency fund is. So in Dave Ramsey's baby step program, the first baby step is to save $1,000 in an emergency fund for emergencies. And I was looking in his book, The Total Money Makeover, and he says in this book that it's going to rain, you need a rainy day fund, your job could be downsized, you could get fired, there's an unexpected pregnancy, the car blows up. What? All of these emergencies are big emergencies and catastrophes, and $1,000 would just simply not be enough to cover those big emergencies. And so while I think $1,000 is a great place to start, especially if you've never had savings in your savings account before. $1,000 can be a lot of money. However, if you are working on this through the Debt Free Millennials community, then you're going to find that most of us agree it's just simply not enough, especially in this trying time of being in a pandemic. My two biggest reasons why I just don't think this plan works anymore is simply because those emergencies typically cost more than $1,000. Think about job loss. A tree falls on your car, something happens to your house, your basement gets flooded, an unexpected pregnancy. Now that's certainly going to cost more than $1,000. And Dave talks about this in his book, that most people rely on their credit cards as a source of being in an emergency fund, which is simply a bad idea. I do agree with him on that. Now, in my personal experience, Dave Ramsey was one of the first financial experts that I started reading. In fact, my parents gave me one of his older books, and it really propelled me into figuring out my own debt-free journey. So I do credit him in that way. However, when I was going through my debt-free journey of paying off $35,000 in student loan debt in 2.5 years on a $37,000 income, I definitely had more than $1,000 in savings during that time. So I didn't start with that. I didn't have that amount. But I saved the $1,000 and I kept going. At one point, I had close to $8,000 or $9,000 in the bank, and I was still making payments towards my student loan debt. And I had averaged about $1,100 per month in student loan debt payments by being very disciplined with my budget. And so I read that baby step, and I didn't follow it because to me, that extra money in my savings account was viewed as a source of security. The more that I had in my savings account, the more safe and secure that I felt. Okay, so you're probably asking, okay, Justine, then what is a good starter emergency fund that I should have? Majority of the Debt-Free Millennials community agrees that 2 to 3 months of living expenses is going to be your best bet for an emergency fund while you're paying off your debt. Now, personally, I had definitely more than that. If I was thinking back to my expenses when I was living in Kansas, 2 to 3 months was definitely less than $8,000 or $9,000. But 2 to 3 months is a great place to start because You have given yourself enough runway if you were to lose your job, if any of those other unexpected events arise, that you would have enough cushion to get you through without falling back into debt. That's the whole point of the emergency fund, is to prevent you from using debt methods to pay for these unexpected expenses. Now, you can watch my video, I will link to that up here, about how much your true emergency fund should be. But at the very least, it should be 6 months for a fully funded emergency fund. That's what Kyle and I personally have, and I know that we could even stretch out that amount for longer if we need to, if we really got in a pinch. Your emergency fund should definitely be the base, the foundation of your personal finance situation. So you could totally start with the $1,000 and then continue to increase that amount until you get at least 2 to 3 months of living expenses built. I truly believe in focusing on one step at a time. So if I were you, I would really focus on putting all of your extra cash towards that emergency fund first and make minimum payments on your debt. If you try to do both of those things simultaneously, meaning you're making extra payments on your debt and you're really trying to build up your savings account for your emergency fund, you may end up burning out, and it's going to take you a lot longer to reach those goals. Because here's what happens. Your energy and your focus is going to be split in two different directions instead of all of your energy being pointed into one direction and one goal. You're going to hit that goal a lot faster, and you're going to be able to say, cool, I've got the 2 to 3 months of emergency fund expenses set aside. Now I can really focus all of my energy on paying off my debt and feel secure, safe, and confident that whatever happens to me during my debt-free journey, I've got a backup plan in place, and it's going to be more than enough to get me through these tough times. So if you want to get started on building that 2 to 3 months emergency fund, I highly suggest that you download my budget toolkit, or if you're already using a way to track your budget through an app, a journal, an online spreadsheet, whatever it may be, you need to start building in that emergency fund savings directly into your budget and start saving for this every single month. Even just setting aside $100 in an automatic transfer is going to help you feel less stressed, more confident that you are actually making headway on that goal. So I'd like to know in the comments below, do you agree with me? Do you think 2 to 3 months as a starter emergency fund is better than $1,000, or are you sticking with the $1,000 plan like Dave Ramsey suggests and just going after your debt after you hit $1,000? I'd love to know. Let's open up this conversation. I think millennials are seeing this in a different perspective than what he's taught for the past few decades. Think about that. And I think there is a way where we can say, hey, like, this makes us feel more comfortable. We've got stuff to take care of, and 2 to 3 months is going to help take care of that while we're paying off debt. Don't forget, you can grab that free budget toolkit spreadsheet, the same budget spreadsheet that I've used since 2011 to track my income and expenses, using the link in the description box below. And I'll catch you guys in another video.